Monday, July 18th, 2022. Today on the Daily Review, we discuss the new Nathan Fielder show on HBO. It's The Rehearsal with your host, Professor Joe LaRocca. What's up, guys? Nathan For You. I hope you know that show. That's a big, important show of the past decade or so on terrestrial TV. I think it's one of the only funny ones I've seen that wasn't a streaming show or didn't come out in some other method. That's probably not true. I just kind of said that off the top of my head because I do think it's a brilliant show where he would go into businesses and help them with their get better marketing and better exposure by doing something crazy like, oh, we have alligators here. So more complicated than that, but he would always come up with things and it was a wry look at the silliness of the advertising and commercial industry, I guess, was part of it. So this very complicated premise. It's like Schenectady, New York, the nonfiction TV show. So if you haven't seen Schenectady, New York, I'm saying that wrong. It's like, but whatever. It's a Charlie Kaufman written, directed movie about Philip Seymour Hoffman who puts a play on about his own life, and it kind of he goes nuts with it and goes beyond the borders of the theater to like everybody in his whole world is playing a part. In this show, the idea is, hey, wouldn't it be nice that if sometimes in life when you have to deal with a tough conversation or have something, you want to ask for a raise or you're going to fire somebody or you're going to break up with somebody or you got a secret to tell, wouldn't it be nice if you could rehearse those situations ad nauseum so that when you get to the reality of the event, you can be prepared and have every permutation worked out and not be nervous about it? Like taking SAT prep, you know, so that by the time you get to the SATs, you've taken it 10 times, so it's not as terrifying. Boy, that was such an upper class white guy reference. Anyway, it's not my fault. It's not my fault my dad worked hard. It's not my fault my dad was tall and smart and handsome and stuff. That's all you had to be back in the day, was tall, smart, and handsome. Now you have to be tall, handsome, and I think that's it. Okay, anyway, so Nathan Fielder, brilliant, genius, deadpan, smart comedy guy. And our boy, fan of show, Eric Natornicola is a producer on this show. He's great. He works with Tim Heidecker a lot. Okay, so the premise of this first episode, very complicated. And I think you got to give it one episode before you fully understand. Because I think halfway through the first episode, I was like, I don't fully understand what's going on here fully. So it's a guy who was on a trivia team, a very hardcore pub trivia team, where, several years ago, where he became very good friends with everybody, and he lied to them about having a master's because everybody there had a master's or higher degree. So he felt guilty, and he was still working on his bachelor's degree at the time at kind of an older age than normal, so he felt super self-aware about it, and he lied to them, and he even showed them pictures from his bachelor's graduation and stuff, and people would be like sending him jobs and stuff like that he would require a master's degree and stuff. So he just felt really guilty about it, and he wanted to tell this one lady in particular who knew that she would be the most upset. So in order to prepare for this, Nathan hires an actress to meet with the woman, unbeknownst to her why it's going on. The woman thinks she's doing an interview of a bird watcher, but it's really the actress learning how to play her so that in the simulation, which is an identical replication of the bar in which they are going to be playing trivia in, they can simulate everything, including the crowd and the bartender and the questions and where they're going to sit, and it's just identical. So so it gets really meta and strange, and the big questions are, is it funny? And yes, certainly. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit for the joke, but it's certainly, over everything, it's meant to be funny. But in a close second, it's insanely fascinating and heartfelt. Like, it's really, really interesting to watch, just, as opposed to the conflict being like, we're all our multiverse is all scrambled, and now we're lizard people with hot dog hands. Like, it's just like, you don't have to go that silly to be creative and to be original. And in fact, when you get to the point of hot dog hands, you might go, maybe pump the brakes a little bit on this. This is getting a little too silly, you know? We might start losing the message here if we cram it full of so much creativity. It might be like a overstuffed cannoli, right? You know what movie I'm talking about. I did like that movie, but give me a fucking break also. You know, you made your point after an hour and a half, and it went on like another 25 minutes of just fucking treading water. But I guess that's the point, right? The tweest movie ever made. Rocks fucking talking to each other. Anyway, back to the rehearsal. Yeah, I mean, by the time it got to the end of the episode, I was both moved and then hysterically laughing. So they do ultimately go for the joke, which is important, you know, because a lesser show would go, the drama here is so good, we should focus on that. But then ultimately there's a joke, so which is great. And yeah, it's so fascinating to watch this guy who is terrified about this event, this day, and watch that unfold. Watch that, him telling this lady and seeing her reaction, and like, because you can relate to it. It's insanely relatable for such a weird show, because you know how when you have to talk to somebody or when you have something you have to deal with, how you play through all the scenarios in your mind, and how it's like so intense to the point where when you're in that moment, right before that moment, you're like, I'm in a fucking movie right now. You know what I mean? You're like, this is like, it feels that intense, as if like an asteroid is about to hit our Earth and you have to launch the rocket to stop it. Like, it's a super intense moment, and I think that that's a huge part of being able to relate to this show. That is a bit odd. Definitely, I'm telling you, got to give it the whole episode, because especially the first 15 minutes, I really feel like Nathan is trying to clear out all the uninitiated, because he rehearses the first idea of the show before you even fully understand what's happening. I don't know. It is the clear next brilliant evolution to Nathan For You. It's like another level up of sarcasm, deadpan, reality, using real people. It's just like, boy, it does pretty much everything it could do, and it's one of the most unique television comedy experiences I've had in a very long time. I know that's bold, and it's only one episode right now, so this grade is basically unfair, but I'm going to give it to it because if this were just a one-off episode, I'd be like, did you see that? That was like perfect, you know? But so I want to give it an A. But I think that that's a little bit silly to give something an A after one show. So I'm going to give it a very, very, very high A-. And I have a funny feeling, because I'm just going to do one show a week. I have a feeling by the end of it, it'll be my favorite show of the year, if it can keep this up. I will revisit it near the end for sure. It's my type of comedy. I just love it. I think it's so fucking clever. Some people might find it just boring and annoying. So I'd like to hear in the comments what you guys think, but for me, this is like cutting edge. This is the new, as they say. Do they say that? Well, you can like and subscribe, as I am also the new. I'm here every day. You can be here as much as you want. Nice short episode. Just go watch it. Go watch it now. Oh, God. Oh, man, I did a Sun Piss episode yesterday, but since it's the new setup, I didn't hook up the audio, so it was just a silent episode. So if you watched my silent musical episode, where people were like, what are you doing? Are you doing engineering? And I thought people were making fun of the music in the comments, and I was like, dude, go fuck. In my head, I was like, go fuck yourself, dude. I know it's not good, but it sounds like music. Like, it has a rhythm to it. And then I realized that all the comments were because there was no sound. People thought I was just, like, repairing the Eurorack or something. Anyway, okay, let's get this under 10 minutes. All right, take it easy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Where I think I'm going to do The Godfather Coda, which Patty recommended, and I started watching last night. Fucking pretty damn good, especially the opening. So I'll talk about that. That's the third Godfather movie that they re-edited and fiddled with a little bit. Okay, talk to you later.